Hello, welcome back to Lazy Reviews with your host Shilling. I'm basically making this a series where I just play games while I review haphazardly, while giving as much insight as I can. Today is The Boys. I did Invincible last time and I rewatched The Boys recently, before season 4 comes out. So I thought I'd give a little review of it because the Invincible one popped off, and I'm shallow, so I want to I want to capitalize. Um, I guess the first thing to talk about would be the definitely the original comics. They fucking suck. They're really not good, and I don't think anyone would defend them or say that's like a wrong statement. Like the original Boys comics is the definition of being edgy for the sake of edge. Like, a lot of the plot points are like a lot more simple and dumb. Uh, the soups are made to just be, oh, this guy's evil and a paedophile. This guy's evil and a sex addict. And I think to stray away from that and add a bit more human side to it is definitely like it's more than welcome by most people, myself included. Because even though you hate the soups and they are pretty evil, they're not made evil without reason, which I think definitely helped the series a lot. Uh, Next, the characters. I think the characters in The Boys is some are very organic, well written, amazing, and others less so. But it's very rare you come across one that's written like badly, like on purpose, and it's like terrible and it's unforgivable. Like some characters are just sort of I don't know how to put. They just don't have the same oomph as the rest. Like I think a critique that I have that not many other people have is I don't like the character of Grace Mallory, the FBI agent. I think, despite what happened to her grandchildren, she lacks a consistent character almost. Again, this is just a me criticism. I've never come across anyone who has the same. But I think some other characters who are leaving my head can be written inconsistently. I think another one would be the the season finale of season 3. I think it didn't make sense for everyone to turn on Soldier Boy and attack him. I think that plot point was inconsistent for characters, especially like Butcher, who earlier in the season had berated Ryan, and then you know just berates Ryan, and then now he wants to not kill Homelander because Soldier Boy attacked Ryan. Like it felt unnecessary because Butcher had a good character moment in the season that felt almost like this drifted away a bit. It's hard to explain, really. Um, but I think that's sort of my main criticisms in that regard. Uh, the next segment is good things about the characters. I think the main cast are all very well written. They're all very sympathetic and lovable, and none of it feels generic with any character. Besides MM, but they do generic right, because like Soup's killed his family and stuff, but the extended parts about his OCD and like where it developed from because of that, I think is very organic and well done, and I appreciate that a lot. Uh, but moving on to Frenchie, I think Frenchie's story is him or Butcher are my two favorite because they're just so different from any other story that you really hear about, and it covers topics better about like parental abuse and stuff in sort of almost non-generic ways because Butcher's dad is evil and awful, but in a different way from what at least I'm personally used to in storytelling. Uh, and I think Frenchie's is just amazing. With his father taking him away and him being a lapdog for everyone. I think that's expanded on really well throughout the series, and again, it's just a big thumbs up from me. But moving away from the main cast of like good guys, because there's Huey, Annie, and Kamiko, but I think Huey and Annie are two of my least favorite characters, at least. I don't know. I can't get behind them. I appreciate them that being there, and I do like them being there. But as characters, I don't feel as strongly about them as the others. Kamiko, I love. I love Karen Fukuhara. She's a great actor. Um, but again, compared to the main cast, the story is good and definitely probably the most emotional and best acted. But I don't know actually. I feel like I would actually say that now I'm thinking about it. Again, this is lazy review. I don't have a script or anything. Um, Next topic would be the villains. I think I would not be the first, and I would definitely not be the last to say that Homelander is an amazing villain. Uh, Anthony Starr does an amazing job. He's Anthony Starr is one of my favorite actors from in the sense that I've never seen him in something I don't like him in. I watched part of Banshee, and that he was amazing in that. He was in a comedy show. I can't remember what it was, but he was funny. He has good comedic timing. Uh, he's just a very talented actor. Same with everyone in this cast. I can't think of a single actor in this who I think, wow, they're bad. Like, the acting is phenomenal. Um, I think villains like A-Train are some of the most sympathetic. I think you can really get behind it. And I appreciate they also have goofy ones like the Deep, who sort of doesn't know where he's going at all, but he's just sort of going with it and failing because he's just pampered and has no skills whatsoever in any regard. And I think that leads to some of the best comedic moments in the whole series. Um, and then you get like Black Noir, Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy, I love. He's just. I like to think Homelander's sort of the new day conservative. Homelander's like the traditional one. In the sense, he's like what people consider a real man, even if it's mostly a facade and a bit toxic. Um, and Black Noir, I feel so sorry for Black Noir. Rest in peace, my boy. He deserved it. He deserved nothing. Sorry, he did not deserve it at all. Um, I think I guess the next topic would be the actual story, which, as I mentioned before, thank God they didn't make it like the comics. The comics fucking suck. The story here is very well written. At times it can feel a bit. I can't think of the right word for it, but it's just a bit like, okay, we'll get it, like, about the political side of stuff, because I think a lot of the stuff they cover in it is very accurate and it's very hot topics in the media right now. But also sometimes it feels like they're going a tad bit over the top with it. And sorry, I'm focusing on the game now. Jesus. Yeah, that'll do. I think the story. Sorry, I'll focus now. I think the story is very organic. It always keeps you on your toes. You never really know what's going to happen next. And the Pain Vought is this sort of huge, sort of unstoppable force where no matter what seems to go wrong for them, they make it go right. Which I respect because it doesn't there's never really a point where it feels generic. It's never like this is the generic mega corporation that's evil. It's like it feels like they could be a real pharmaceutical company at one point, and I like that a lot. Um, I like I like how a lot of the main characters aren't written to be like proper anti-heroes where it's like, oh, he does this because he's pretty much evil. It's not really good. Like they are fighting for the great good, and they do know that, but they are also dickheads organically. Like I've used the word organic like 50 times in this, but that's just how usual feels. Like Butcher, he's a cunt. He lies. He is generally a pretty horrible person, but you just still love him because you understand why he does the things he does sometimes. Uh, and he's just it's stuff like that which I appreciate a lot from this show. Um, I think in terms of visuals, this is one of the best, at least practical effects I've seen in a show. Like I can't think of a single point where the visuals have been like, "Ooh, why did you do that?" Like they are always they're always top of the game. They always look amazing, and I mean, just big. I mean, credit to the crew because it's genuinely looks amazing. And I look at some of the behind the scenes stuff, and it's just amazing. But anyways, I'm gonna move on to by season, sort of what I think of each season of it. I think season one is definitely the weakest. Not in a bad way, because a lot of the most iconic moments of the show are from the first season, and it hooks you in immediately. But that being said, I think when it comes to the characters, the chemistry's not there yet, which is obviously expected because it's the start of the show, but a lot of the main chemistry isn't there. Um, it feels like it hasn't found its footing on a lot of things. I think Homelander's another one. I think again, I think that's story based as well, though, as he grows as a character. And like I said, I'd still give season one like a 9 out of 10, but the others are like 9.5, 9 point whatever. Like they're just a bit better because of the development of the series. I think more so than the writing or anything like that, or the effects. Um, I think a huge turn off for it though is the I feel like Butcher. Oh, for fuck's sake! Shitty Wi-Fi. I think Butcher is the main example I'd think of in the sense that like I, Butcher is so different in the start compared to the rest of the series. Like it's really sometimes it's quite daunting watching his first episode with him in, and then comparing it to like later in the series when he's like fully fleshed out and become like the Butcher we know. I think that is a huge like daunting difference between it. Um, and another one is like characters like MM. You just don't know enough about them. You haven't seen them long enough or been with them long enough. And I think it's so action packed at the start. You miss some of the main character moments which you get in the later series. Like I think the peak for it would be season 2 or 3 with stuff like characters you wouldn't expect to be together, like MM and Annie. They have great on-screen chemistry. They're two developed characters, and you know who they are. And you know the motives, and it watching them talk to each other is more entertaining than before because both the writers and the actors have sort of come into their own a bit, and it's more again just chemistry fueled because of this. Um, and I guess that's a good transition to season 2, which Season 2 and 3 are very good. They're almost on par, but I think season 3 takes the cake for a few reasons. But I'll talk about the highs of season 2. Um, the addition of Stormfront was a really good idea, and the way they take it down again is very organic, and it gives characters like Atrium the time to shine because he knows the right thing, but sometimes he just can't do it because of his like the company. So there's things like that which I appreciate a lot. Um, sorry, fortifying. Again, one of the issues with this being a lazy review. Um, MM. Wait, what? Where was it? Oh yeah, MM is expanded on quite a bit through that because of the sort of racist aspect of her being you know, one of them. I don't know if I'd actually say the word on YouTube, so hopefully not. Uh, but I think that was a great avenue to expand on things like that with her being Liberty and the racial motivation behind her sort of brutality. I think it was just a very smart idea to introduce her to the series. Um, and the actress is phenomenal. She does a great job. She really sells the role very well. Um, but I think a lot of the stuff in VOT that happens is really great as well. Like the stuff with Stan Edgar, um, letting the Supes get into the military. That's such an interesting concept, and it does make it feel a bit more grounded in real life. Um, and stuff with the Deep is just fucking. This is like the peak of its goofiness. Like they just do what they want with them, and I've got to respect it because it's very entertaining to watch. Um, I think. I guess. I guess weak point is. I remember at one point this the video of Homelander just killing a soup terrorist, and then like he kills a civilian behind them, and that's sort of shrugged off more than it should have been. It was more a plot point to like get him and Stormfront introduced to each other, but I I don't think it should have been shrugged off that fast because it doesn't really get mentioned later. And it's a pretty damning thing, especially considering how he acts after and shrugs it off. I think there's not enough consequence for an action like that, which threw me off quite a lot because I got forgiven way too fast for it. Um, but it's only little criticisms like that. I think overall the story's a bit. I'm less into the story personally in season 2 than I'm season 3, which I think is probably thinking about now the best season of the whole thing, at least so far. You get loads of Butcher development. Uh, I do dislike how they've done certain things with Butcher. Like, I think his argument with Ryan felt a little bit forced, just to sort of be like, "Oh well, Butcher's a cunt, you know, Butcher. Butcher's a cunt. He did this to Ryan." It's like it just didn't feel right. Him doing that, like it just didn't make sense realistically from a story standpoint. Um, but besides that, Butcher's developed the most by far in a really, really well like done way. When they're fighting Mindstorm, who's one of the ex members of Payback, which is Soldier Boy's group, and I think they handle that very well. The like nightmare that he has to live is a great way of sort of expanding that side of Butcher, that sort of grimy past he has, and the reason he is the way he is. Um, and I think the addition of Soldier Boy, similar to Stormfront, was a great addition. I think another soup that I add next season is Tech Knight, which I'm excited for because if it's anything like the other two who've been introduced, I think it'll be really just well done and add a lot to the story. Um, and Soldier Boy is a great addition, and making him Homelander's dad is also a great like idea from the writing crew. And that's just opens the fucking can of worms that is Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy is he feels like an unstoppable force. He's like he's this all American hero, apparently stormed Normandy, uh, has PTSD from being caught by the Russians. He's definitely, even compared to Homelander, he feels like more of a threat, if not, well, maybe he's a little bit less because Homelander's horrifying, but he feels like a huge threat. And again, I just appreciate that a lot. It's nice to introduce new characters, and they serve a very major purpose in the season. Um, I think another reason why I'm putting it to the top is because it has the best episode in the series, which is obviously Hero Gasm. I know it's a very boring take. I know. I'm sorry, it's not season 2, episode 4.5, where jerks off or whatever. But it's like Hero Gasm is just. It's undeniable that's the best episode because so much goes down. It goes so over the top with everything. It's perfect. And like, it's the closest thing to a perfect episode The Boys has, in my opinion. There's rewatching it, there wasn't a single point where I was like, oh, you're just gonna get past this. I was like engaged throughout. The jokes landed, the visual effects were amazing, and they definitely shine with the visual effects in this one, especially when gets covered in squirt. um, but it is just an amazing season for like any series really, and that episode particularly shines in my opinion. Uh, and I guess just overall, I think if I had to give a score, I'd give The Boys a 9.3 out of 10, because season 1's probably a 9, season 2 is like 9.2, and season 5's like season 3 is 9.5. But yeah, that's about it for lazy reviews. Frenchie's the best character. Bye bye.